Okay, here's another twangy guitar. It's very similar to the some same stable as the Jedson, which I've just done up. This thing came to me as in various bits and pieces. I acquired the body and the neck as an item, although it had no tuners. It just had the string retaining bar and the neck plate and the screws. And I managed to pick up the pickguard assembly, which came complete with the switches, the pickups, everything on it. Just needed a quick squirt of switch cleaner and it was fine. The rest of the stuff, the hardware, didn't have the bridge, the tailpiece, or the tuners. I was amazed to find they're readily available. They're still in production. It's got a set of 6 on the strip tuners, pretty well exact replica, except the originals were slightly whiter buttons. These are slightly cream coloured, a bit nicer. But what even more amazingly, from CH Guitars in the UK, I found this tremolo, and on their picture on the website, it looked like it was the same thing. When it came, it was exactly the right fitting, down to the screw holes were exactly the right place. These guitars, well, this particular model, I'll talk about what it is in a second, were fitted with a variety of tremolo arms, and this one just happened to be exactly the right size. And then a few days later, I found one of these adjustable bridges that just pressed chromed steel. This guitar is Japanese, came out of the, I think it was a Kawai factory. They took over Teisco or Teisco. So basically it's got those Teisco pickups on it. It's not got a badge on it, but I know what this is. This is an Audition, and those of you of a certain age will know that these guitars were sold through Woolworths. That's right, Woolies. And much derided. And as I say, it wasn't a particularly cool guitar to have at the time, because you wanted a proper Stratocaster, not something that didn't quite look like a Stratocaster. It's sort of slightly Stratocaster-ish, slightly Jaguar-esque, with those pickups and the sort of old own brand trem. But the pickups, like the one on the Jedson, you can sort of hear the strings themselves, which is what I really like. Here's the treble pickup. Here's the neck pickup. And there's the two together. I think that's what they're best for, that clean, twangy sound. Yeah, if I put some dirt on it, you can hear what it will do, but I don't see the point of doing that really, because it just muffles the sound of the guitar. But I think you're hearing the amplifier rather than the guitar when you do that sort of thing with it. So these are a peculiar find. You either love them or hate them. I'm not quite sure. I love the look, but that it's not like a Strat copy. It's got its own character with this sort of scalloped out bit here. It's a plywood body, some very thin. That's the way they were made, with good quality plywood. Decent quality hardwood, mahogany type neck, very sort of hard thick lacquer, bound fretboard, pretty decent fret wire and fretboard, and these great pickups, the Teisco, whatever you want to call them, pickups. quite often they're pinched off guitars like this to actually put onto a Stratocaster because people reckon they sound better. So go figure. Yeah, if you wouldn't be dead seen toting a Woolworths guitar, but if you don't give a damn, lovely, lovely deep sound. And the tremolo, as it was set up a bit, it was pinched up too tight, so it wasn't returning to a neutral setting. But it seems to have settled down all right. It seems to lend itself to those more fluid sort of bends than you get with a regular Strat whammy bar. I'm not even very used to tremolo arms or vibrato arms. But I like these. Yeah, it's got a slight sort of Mosrite vibe to it. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep this or sell it or whatever. People are asking sort of quite substantial sums for these things, and people either think, oh, it's a con or whatever. But they were, as I said, with the Jedson, they were discarded in favour of other Japanese copies, like a Strat copy that looked like a Strat, or a Les Paul that looked like a Les Paul, apart from the fact they've got a bolt-on neck. Like the Columbus copy seemed to be very, very popular. It was a time when these were being made. I said there's companies like Audition, they sold under the Audition brand, Zenta, Top 20, Jedson. They were all imported into the UK from the Teisco Kawai factory. But at the same time, there were people like Columbus and then Antoria, Shaftesbury as well were branding some stuff with guitars that looked like their American counterparts, like the Telecaster, Stratocaster, the Les Paul. A lot of the Les Pauls and the 335 copies, though, had bolting neck just the same, and the Les Pauls, they looked like a Les Paul. The tops were just like these, plywood, piece of pressed plywood to make it look like an archtop Les Paul. So they looked more like an American guitar, but they were built just as cheaply. But the one thing, excuse me, that this factory seemed to do, despite the cheesy hardware, was get the pickups right. But having said that, this amazingly, and I am amazed that this hardware, whether it's been reproduced because people are digging these out of the attic, but the bridge, there's a few variations on this. This is a pressed steel one. The nicer ones had like a square base plate and the Gretsch style roller with the threaded bar and the rollers on it. And as I say, some had a different sort of vibrato unit, but this one is a bang-on copy, fits precisely. I'm so impressed with that. And like I say, the machine heads as well. Straightforward copy. You can get these with pearl or chrome buttons. And yeah, it's got nickel-plated bushings where the original probably would have had plastic ones. So it's quite a nice sort of upgrade to... you got some brand new hardware that isn't knackered and worn out. And this one seems to play okay.